Today we're going to be trying Belizean stewed pumpkin. You're watching The Bear Pantry Show. So I really think we're breaking my mom down. She actually called today and she asked me what I was going to do for the show for Halloween. So I told her I think I'll do some type of pudding, maybe rice pudding. And so she suggested stewed pumpkin. Well, of course, I don't know how to make that. So she decided to give me the recipe. When she started rattling off on the phone, she didn't think I was going to catch it, right? So I got the recipe, and today we're going to try it for the very first time. So of course, to make stewed pumpkin, this is the most important ingredient that we're going to need, the pumpkin. And I went to Walmart and I picked up like the smallest pumpkin I could find because I don't want a whole ton of this to be left here at the house so we can start eating all these sweets and getting sick, okay? So we're gonna do that. We're gonna use brown sugar. And you're supposed to use allspice that looks like a seed, but I couldn't find that at the store. So I picked up the powder, and honestly, I was gonna do without it if I couldn't find it, but Mom insisted that this is the most important ingredient in making the stewed pumpkin. This is the thing that gives it its kick. And then the only other thing that we'll need is a huge pot and tons of water. So this is the first thing we'll do to the pumpkin. We'll get a little stiff brush right here and we'll just wash it really, really well under the sink because we're gonna use the outer shell or the skin, whatever this part's called, when we make the stew. We're not gonna get rid of this part, so we really wanna get it washed. And then after I'm done, we're gonna start carving into this pumpkin. After I wash the pumpkin completely with the brush, I've enlisted Joe to come help me carve it because honestly, I've never carved into a pumpkin before. So here we go. Joe's using that serrated knife that we use for everything. And he's just kind of cutting it open the way he does when he cuts open a watermelon. And so that's the inside of our pumpkin. And we don't want to do away with the insides, okay? We don't want to get rid of seed or anything. If some falls out, that's okay. But pretty much we're going to leave everything intact. And he's just going to cut it like into sections right here, into smaller type sections. So you kind of want to hold on to the pumpkin really well because it's slippery and you don't want to cut your hand. Look at the pumpkin seed. I guess this is like what we call pepitas in Belize, or does that come from another type of, it comes from a squash. Oh, it comes from squash, but it kind of favors pepitas, see, right here. Doesn't it favor pepitas, you guys? So Joe's just gonna get them smaller. He's gonna get them even smaller than this right here. And then we're gonna move to the stove. We're gonna put the pot on to start the stewing process. So the stewed pumpkin recipe is gonna be one of those recipes that we're gonna have to do over the course of 2 days. Now, I'm not quite looking forward to that, but I think it'll be fun in the long run. So today we're gonna start the recipe and then we're gonna let it steep overnight. And then in the morning, we're gonna pick up where we left off and finish off the stew. So I got my large pot, and I think this pot is like a 7-quart pot, okay? I could never remember the size of this pot, but it's bigger than 5 quarts. And I filled it to a little bit more than half. I'm gonna be adding more water to that, but I wanna put the pumpkin in first. And see, that's only half of the pumpkin. We've decided that we don't need to cook that whole pumpkin because it's just gonna be us here that eat it, and we don't want all these sweets to be left around lingering too long in the house. So we're gonna start by adding in a cup of brown sugar, and then we're gonna taste the water to see if it's sweet enough. So here's 1 cup of brown sugar. I have a feeling we're gonna need more, but let's dissolve this in the water first. And then we're gonna taste it because stewed pumpkin is totally to your taste, okay? Some people might like it a little bit more sweet than other people. So let's make sure that it's totally dissolved. And then we're gonna taste a little bit. You drop it in my hand. Okay, that's not sweet enough. So let's add some more brown sugar to this mixture, and we're gonna add another cup. And then we're gonna see where that puts us in the way of sweetness. So I put a total of 3 cups of brown sugar in there so far, and it's tasting more on the sweet side than not. But I don't want to add any more until I get it cooking, because I want that sugar to have some time to like congeal, I guess, with the pumpkin. So if it's still not sweet enough after we get it going, I'm making a mess, then we're going to add more sugar later. But let's add the pieces of pumpkin in, and then we're going to turn the stove on, and we're just going to let this cook until the water is maybe to a quarter of the pot. So let me see if I'm going to have to add more water, because I don't want it to overflow, okay? And so you can see that the trick to this is that you're going to have a huge pot. So here we are, we're doing half the pumpkin. I'm going to get the stove lit, and I have it on my big burner that cooks fast. And we're just going to let that cook for however long it takes. If it's an hour, if it's 2 hours, we'll see. We'll see at the end how long it takes for that water to cook down to about a quarter of the bottom of the pot before we turn it off and let it steep, okay? It's been an hour since I put the pumpkin to cook on the stove, so I'm going to add a little bit of the allspice, ground it. I'm not going to put a whole lot, because if this were in the seed form, we'd only put about 4 to this big pot. I've allowed the pumpkin to cook for about 3 hours, and now it's to the point where I'm going to shut off the pot and allow it to steep overnight, and then tomorrow morning we're going to pick up where we left off. So this is where we left the pumpkin. Last night we let it just kind of sit here on the stove covered up, and see some of the seeds are still in there. Like my mom said, you don't need to take the seeds out. Look at how beautiful and thick the syrup is, and it's going to get even thicker. You know, I think in the long run it's going to get as thick as maybe like a jam or a jelly. And see, there's big old chunks of the pumpkin because we're going to be eating these parts. So I put back on the pumpkin about 5 minutes ago, and I'm going to allow it to stew. I'm going to watch it though, because see, I put the camera this far away just so you guys can see how it's bubbling in the pot right there. I'm going to get a close-up view for you. I have the fire on high, and if you can see, it's really bubbling pretty fierce. It's only been on for about 5 to 7 minutes. And I didn't add any more water since the beginning, okay? But it smells really, really good. I mean, even Jory, who has issues with smells, he's like, whatever that is, it really smells awesome. So we're just gonna watch this some more. If it's cooking too fast, I might turn the fire down. I'll let you know if I do that. But in the meantime, I think this is going at a really good rate, so I'm going to leave the fire like that and just watch it so that it doesn't start sticking. And remember guys, this is the first time that I'm doing this, and I turn on the camera and I'm following mommy's instructions, okay? Okay, so this only took like 20 minutes after we started back up again today. And it cooks so fast. I had the fire on high the whole time. And look how beautiful it is. It looks like a stew, like some type of jelly or something. Look. Isn't that beautiful? It's been like 15 to 20 minutes that we had to cook it the next day. Look how beautiful and gelatinous it looks. Oh, wow. Gorgeous. Let me get that on a plate for you. Here's the finished product of the stewed pumpkin. It smells so good. You would not believe how awesome this smells. Look, let's taste. It's still hot, but I'm gonna pick out a little piece of it. This is so good. See this part right here? See this part right here? This is the shell part. And it's soft, but you can eat that part too. The Creole phrase of today is Kungo, and in English that means come let us go. Yay! The stewed pumpkin came out so good. This is definitely an overly sweet dessert, so I would be very careful how much of this I eat, okay? Mom I'm so grateful to Mom, because sometimes when Mom gives the recipes, she tries to hide little secret ingredients so that it doesn't come out quite like hers. But this time she gave me all of it because it actually came out so good. I always thank you guys for watching the show, for sharing it with your friends and family, and for picking up my book. And I definitely always thank you guys for subscribing. But today, I really and truly want to tell you a heartfelt thank you for subscribing, because you guys took the time to do that. Finally, Google and YouTube are allowing me to make my own thumbnails at the site. So when you go to the site now, you'll see all the videos that I have there already, but you're going to see different pictures that starts off the video, because I'm actually allowed to put my own now. And I always want to try to put something elegant and beautiful so that it can entice you guys to watch the video and get hungry, right? Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching as always. And until I see you again, take care. Have a happy and safe Halloween.